We all know that Reddit is a rabbit hole that we don't want to fall in. It is a website that usually just posts a question and wait for answers from the rest. But this time, I wanted to switch things a little bit. A couple months ago, a friend of mine invited me to this Reddit community in which people just ask questions about Rocket League, so I started answering some to help people to just improve and fall in love with the game. For the ones that don't know me at all, I'm Stolen. I have been an RLCS coach for more than 4 years, and I am currently coaching the Woo, who is competing in NA RLCS, as well as Fisher College for CRL. Going back to the topic, the problem with these answers is that I feel that you cannot really answer those kind of questions just by a text. And that's how I came up with the idea for this video. So I posted this 2 days ago and just waited a little bit. I received different kinds of questions and selected the 10 best answer. I grouped them in 3 categories where I talk about positioning and rotations, tips for different ranks, and questions about my life as a pro coach. So let's go with it. Okay, so for this category, I chose 2 questions that are really similar. I mean, they're really related, so that's why I will answer them both on the same answer. The first one is, what's the secret about spacing? And the second one is, what does a true rotation look like at the highest ranks / SSL? I think these 2 questions go kind of hand in hand because SSLs in high ranks are the ones who manage spacing the best. Even if you look at pro gameplay and SSL, you'll notice that there is a significant difference in how they position, how they wait for their teammates' challenges, and how they view the overall team positioning. What is really important about spacing is that you consider 2 or 3 factors. The first one is the speed of the play. To understand the speed of a play, what you gotta focus on is on your first man speed, on the opponent's first man speed, and on the overall ball speed as well. So if both players are going kind of slow and the ball is going slow too, the play is not that risky, so you can get closer to it because it's going slower. But instead, if the play is going faster, so both first men are going really fast and the ball is going fast too, what you gotta do is play a bit more safe. But this kind of depends, because it really depends on what your other teammate that is off the ball is doing. If he's pushing really aggressive, you gotta stay passive. Which leads me to our second question. While it's true that there is certain patterns that we can notice when SSLs rotate, they will either rotate underneath the ball but trying to not get into the play, or trying to just get a bump, or just directly rotating far post. That's the other alternative, which still works at SSL and even on pro gameplay. The thing that I really like to focus on the most is not really how they get into the places, but actually where they end up. And for this, the easiest way to explain it to regular people that doesn't compete, that is not a pro, is dividing in 2 different ways of attacking. We have what I call passive and aggressive triangle. The aggressive triangle is pretty simple. You usually have a first man on the ball when the ball is on the side, 1 second man pushed up, kinda on the same line as where the ball is, a little bit behind and also covering the middle, and then we have a third man who is covering the back, usually around midfield. While the other kind of positioning is the inverted triangle or the passive triangle, in which you have the first man on the ball obviously, but the third man is the one who is a bit pushed up, and the second man is still covering the middle, but he is more towards the midfield line as well. The idea for the first one is that the first man just creates a play that goes into the second man, and second man can either score or set up a pass for the third man. And the second one, the idea is to just keep the ball on their side, you starve their boosts, you demo them, and you just play and play and play until they make a mistake and you just score an open net. In this section, you will have indicators that will tell you which rank is this question targeted to. But I still recommend you watching them all because you can learn things from pretty much any rank. Okay, so our third question today is, how do you play aggressive and also effective at SSL? What I can recommend you is that you really practice challenging, especially when you're playing once. Because being able to play aggressive really depends on how you play with your challenges, I would say. It's not really about positioning, because obviously your positioning could influence how aggressive you are. But what makes the most difference is how you challenge and when you decide to challenge or not. So I would say that if you really want to learn how to challenge, because this is a skill that cannot be taught, you actually need to learn it by just playing and by experience. But as I said, just play once and watch once replays from pro players, because in this way you can see which scenarios they challenge and which scenarios they don't. For example, for fake challenging, you can either fake challenge right on the ball, which will probably end up in a goal because your opponent will flick anyways. You can challenge really far away, which will have pretty much no impact since your opponent will be able to tell that you're just faking. But there is a sweet spot that you can fake challenge, so your opponent has no idea if you're actually going for the ball or not, and he will probably panic and just give the ball away to you. Fourth question: in your opinion, what are the 3 biggest mistakes that you see when watching mid-rank players replays? And I follow up with a question, what's mid-ranks for you? And he said high diamond to low GC. This is a pretty wide range, so I'll try to summarize between diamond, champion, low GC. This is a really wide range of ranks. The thing that I see on the lowest tier of ranks is that they don't really understand how to rotate. I mean, they have no idea on how they're supposed to rotate, that the game is meant to be played by turns, that you gotta let your teammate go and just position based on what you think that will happen with your teammate's play. Or what also happens is that people learn how to rotate, but they stay too passive. I've seen many players scared of just pushing up with their teammates, which results in just 2v1 during the whole match. So you're leaving your teammate in a 2v1 in attack, so it's pretty much impossible to score, and then the counter attack is a 2v1 against you, which is pretty much impossible to defend consistently. Now for Champion 2, Champion 3, what I see is either mechanic inconsistency, there are some limitations with the aerial plays, the aerial shots, especially bounce reads are typically really hard for these people to learn to master. And also I see pretty much the same about being passive or being too aggressive and just trying to make up for your teammate mistakes, which ends up in a really bad situations. So my recommendation is that you either party up with some teammates or that you just try to play based on what your teammates are doing, but not really interfere with their play. And for low GC players, the main thing that I see is that they play too slow. The difference between GC3 and GC1 in terms of speed is insane. Like all the reflexes, all the ways that they create the speed, it's a huge difference. So the best way to improve this is just like trying to play faster, but while thinking. And also another thing that could be really useful for this low GCs is that they just play simpler because it is easier. And that allows you to just play faster. I can even talk this from my self-experience. Like if I was trying to really freestyle and just like score bangers all the time, I would be around GC2. And just by playing simple and fast, I managed to stay like around SSL, GC3 SSL, without really playing too much. But it's just a matter of game sense, so understanding where your teammate is positioned. This kind of has to do with first 2 questions, but also just playing fast and simple, effective. That's it. The 5th question is, what advice or routine would you suggest to a player who is Plat Diamond looking to improve and rank up? Well, this one is really specific and it's kind of hard to create a custom routine for a player that I've never seen. But I will start with the basics. Your training needs to have 3 main blocks. You need to have your mechanical training, you need to have your practical training, but also you need to analyze your own gameplay or gameplay from somebody else. But still, watch the game, not just play. I even have a video on how to create your own routine, but I know that Diamond/Plat players are probably looking for some sort of training packs. So here on screen, I will leave you a couple training packs that you can just use, and obviously the codes will be on the comments down below. The 6th question is there a recommended set of tips for each class of player? And he pretty much developed what each kind of player would be. There are like a couple tips for different people. Obviously, not everybody is the same, but on all the coaching sessions that I've done during my career, which are more than 800, I definitely noticed some patterns on certain ranks that tend to really help those players to rank up. But yeah, there are like certain tips and tricks. It really depends on how you implement them, and as I said, what the player needs. The question number 7 is, what is the most important thing to learn between Plat 3 and low Champ 2? Once again, we have a huge range, but I feel that this question could be answered in just one phrase: understand how the game works. The biggest jump between plat and champion would be the knowledge or the awareness that there is some sort of rotation in the game. Many people don't really understand if they have to just goal chase all the time, they just have to play goalie all the time, where they have to be. So that would be the main thing to learn, starting to have that awareness, that notion, just like being able to understand that you don't have to be in the same exact spot as your teammate is. It's a huge development of a player. And our 8th question is tips for gold rank. Low. Well, for this gold player, what I recommend is just to play the game. I mean, you ask me something real simple, I'll answer with something real simple. Just spend time on free play. That's going to be your best friend during the whole journey of Rocket League. Also, watch any content creators that just play the game. Just watch some gameplay. That was going to help you to understand how the game is meant to be played. And yeah, just enjoy the game, because the first ranks of this game are the ones that I enjoyed the most. Nowadays, I'm just a sweaty tryhard that tries to get SSL every single season, never achieves it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the questions for myself, some more personal questions about being a professional coach. And I think that these are the most interesting ones. Our first question from this section says, as an RLCS coach, what does your regular day look like during the season? And how much time do you spend with your players doing bot reviews and strategy planning? Okay, so nowadays I am not really competing on RLCS, even though I'm coaching a team. I'm not taking it that seriously as I used to take it. But back in the day when I was in a gaming house with my team at Leviathan, we used to wake up around 8:30. Those were the players. I used to wake up at 7:30. I used to make the breakfast for the guys. I used to prepare a replay to watch while we were having breakfast. Just a replay, and we were not really analyzing. Maybe it could be even a VOD from a match from other team or whatever, but just so they can have that stimulus of Rocket League right when they get out. So from 9:30 to 11, we will just work on mechanics. They will just try some training packs, some workshops, some even drills that I would just come up with on the moment. And from 11 to around 12:30, we will just go out to train, do physical activity, just, you know, getting the mind a bit more refreshed, just trying to wake up the body for what's going to happen ahead on the day. And then we will go back to the house around 1 p.m. to just have lunch. We had somebody who cooked for us, so we just had the menu right there. We would eat until around 2 all together. That was like the break time. And around 4, that's when we started warming up. 4:30, we started warming up for scrims. We will also watch a replay around 4:30. That usually took like 45 minutes. So around 5:30, they will just have a little break in between 5:15 and 5:30 to just go to the bathroom, you know, drink a coffee, drink some water, whatever. And from 5:30 to 6, they will just finish their warm-up in free play, just like playing some ranked. And from 6 to 9, they would scrim. Then we have dinner, and then the rest was pretty much free. They usually chose to just play rank during that time because that's when rank usually is skewed more in South America. So they usually just grinded from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Yeah, that was pretty much our routine. As you can see, the strategic or planning was not that long. Actually, it was just around 45 minutes a day, which I think that is like the best amount because the human span of attention is usually around 40 minutes. You know, from 4 minutes on, your attention just goes away. So it's not really that effective. So I try to keep it simple, just 1 or 2 replay analysis within those 45 minutes, because I feel that analyzing more during that analysis was pretty much useless, because we want to be training simple things each day instead of having a chunk of information to work on just 3 hours, which would not be optimal for efficiency. The second question from this same guy, which by the way, really good questions, is what are some practices that you encourage your players to do that you think that would be helpful to the average ranked player who wants to rank up? Well, I think that I'm kind of repeating myself here with the 8th question, but your training routine needs to have 3 blocks. I don't know if I'm being clear enough. Practice your mechanics, play ranked, and analyze the game. It's as simple as that. You just do that, you will see how much you will improve. You see many players that don't even know how to get into a replay. Okay, get into a replay, analyze it. That's it. And our last question is, are you happy? Yes. Thanks for asking. So this has been the video. I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching until the end. And if you want to participate on the next one, make sure to join my Discord server because next time I will receive the questions there. But if you're a curious guy and want to learn more and more about the game, I also offer coaching sessions on MetaFi, which link you have in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to watch this video about how to improve at demos. With anything else to say, thanks for watching and see you next time.